We've known Pastor Samuel for many years, but we've only just started working with him. And he is now distributing food in his area on the border between Kerala and Tamil Nadu. And every month we send out money to enable him to do this. There is a great need for this food distribution. In theory, the Indian government provides food for everybody. But as is so often the case, there's often a big gulf between being entitled to something and actually getting it, particularly if you're the wrong religion or you vote for the wrong political party. So there's a huge need for food distribution at the moment. Santosh over in Tamil Nadu is also distributing food to the needy families of disabled children. And Philip also is distributing food to people young and old who need this food so desperately. It's better, of course, to enable people to become self-sufficient, and we have been providing quite a lot of families with the means towards self-sufficiency, a hen house and some hens, which of course will breed and provide eggs as well as meat for the families. Happy Valley is Philip's special project, and that obviously has been fairly limited with COVID and lockdowns. An added complication was the fact that the lease on their old building came to an end and they had to move out. Fortunately, Philip was able to find another building just in the nick of time, and they were able to move in there. It's another good building. It's a lot bigger than it looks. It goes back a long way. And they were able to have a great celebration to mark their move into the new building. And on the right, there's a big surprise. Philip has managed to raise the funds out in India to pay for a new school bus. The old Toyota Land Cruiser had come to the end of its useful life, and he's got this nearly new bus which should serve for many years. For those of you in Straven who've been raising money for the school bus, don't worry. The other runabout that they use to collect the children on the left is also coming to the end of its useful life and will need replacing shortly. So your money will be well spent. Also, Philip continues to work with tuition groups, providing tuition for children when he's able, and they were able to get the children together from a number of tuition groups and to distribute to them exercise books, textbooks, and water bottles. We've got pictures here of another group where they've done the same, and a third group. And we're very grateful to the folk out in Straven who are helping to fund this. At Ashakiran, again, they've been quite locked down. Occasionally, they're able to get the children together. Otherwise, the teachers interact with the children using cell phones, remote learning. In India, almost everybody has a smartphone, and therefore it's quite feasible to do it this way. The teachers can interact with the children. The physiotherapist can also give the children exercise to do and train the parents also with suitable exercises. We are hoping that both in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, the children will be able to go back to school and meet again physically in about a month's time. I have to say I've heard this several times before, so we'll see what actually happens. Santosh has also been busy. We've now raised the funding for the physiotherapy hall, and he's been applying for planning permission for that. It's been a long, drawn-out process with the lockdowns, but the end is in sight, and we're hoping that very soon we can start the building work on this, which will be a great addition to Asha Kiran Ashram. Santosh is never short of ideas. He's looking to the future, and he'd like to set up another Asha Kiran in another village about 20 miles away. He'd also like to set up a program of training carers for these disabled children so that they can be cared for at home more. And finally, he'd like to do something for older children when they become adults. They shouldn't be in the school really, but they still need some sort of assisted living, and he would like to set up a home for that. So we'll do one thing at a time. For the moment, it's the physiotherapy hall, but we'll see what we can do later on. And it's been great. We've actually had some corporate sponsorship, which is providing a large proportion of what we send out to Happy Valley and to Asha Kiran. We still need some money, and it's great because it releases funds for expanding these wonderful works or doing other things. At Asha Kiran, Beulah is she's no longer at Asha Kiran, but we're continuing to provide the prosthetic legs that she needs. And recently she was fitted up with a new set of legs. The old legs were rigid. These have got joints at the knees and the ankles, so she'll be able to walk a lot more naturally, but they will also take a lot of getting used to. But we're confident that she'll be able to do that, and she'll soon be running around again, even more than she was already. Santosh has also held a vaccination clinic for a number of the people in his area, and that was very successful. You can see a long line of people wanting to come and get vaccinated, and a whole lot more queuing up outside the wall. The home continues to operate. This is Meena. Some of the children who couldn't go back home because of their disabilities are continuing to be cared for at Asha Kiran. I introduced you earlier to Pastor Wilson. He's been doing a number of things with us. The climate change has meant that the monsoons are much less dependable. Some years they don't get much rain at all, other years they're particularly vicious. And this year the monsoon led to a lot of damage. It was a particularly severe monsoon, and a number of houses were badly damaged. So Pastor Wilson asked whether we could help with reconstructing some of these homes for people who are too poor to repair their own homes. And we had had a bequest, and it was great to be able to use some of that bequest to repair these homes. So here we have before and after of one of the homes. For another, we have again before and after. And for the third, this house was beyond any sort of repair, so we were able to build the family just a small home for the three of them up from scratch, and that is now completed. Pastor Wilson also has a project for training some of the local people in tailoring. There's a great demand for hand-sewn saris and that sort of thing, and so he's providing training for them. Some of them, when they are trained, are too poor to afford a sewing machine, so every month we send out enough money to buy the most needy person a sewing machine, and that's been a great success. We're making a lot of people self-sufficient that way. For the men, self-sufficiency comes in a different form, and we provide for them goats. A goat will breed, provides meat, it provides milk, and even one goat will make a discernible difference to the quality of life for a small family. Otherwise, our medical work is continuing. This is when I was over there last, and she's got kidney failure. She needs dialysis 2 or 3 times a week, and she has to pay for that. And there I'm handing over some money to enable her to have a few dialysis sessions. We send out money regularly to make some of the expense of this. Her church also provides some of the money. Unfortunately, because they are a mixed marriage, one Hindu and one Christian, both families have disowned them, so the families are not supporting them the way that would normally happen in that sort of society. Also, we continue to help other people. So this is Banu and his wife Leela, and Banu's on medication for liver cysts, and the medication keeps them under control, but he has to keep taking the medicine, and so we give him about £35 a month towards those medication. And Leela, his wife, has had 4 operations, including a hysterectomy, and again she needs medication because she's got psychiatric treatment issues that need to be controlled. Otherwise, it's normally Philip who's giving out the aid, of course, these days. And again, he's continuing the work that Tom was doing in providing help, medical help for the people who need it most. The kidney patients, Philip used to get them all together once a month to give them the money towards their medication. That's not possible now, so Philip now goes around the houses giving them their money. And this has the added advantage that Philip can see for himself whether their needs are real. We also provide support for about 20 people who need regular medication of one sort and another. This is on top of the kidney patients. And sometimes, as they get older, they die, but there's a ready supply of new patients who need our help. So these are 3 of the people that we've taken on board just recently. On the left, you have Bibu, who's blind. In the middle, you have Geeta, and on the right, you have Gopi, all long-term invalids who need your help with medication. And thanks to your generosity, we were able to do that. Out at Tannel House, it's been really great to see the way that Shalini has grown into the role of running that home. There's been some huge strides in the last 2 or 3 years. It's been a long learning curve for her, but she's really getting there now. So the ladies are meeting together every Sunday. They have a little service, and it's great to see the way the ladies all contribute to that. One of the long-term projects there has been a more up-to-date, bigger, more adequate shower block. And this has it's been going for years, trying to get it going. Anyway, just earlier this year, I had the good news that they've managed, despite COVID and lockdown and everything else, to get it finished, and it's working, and that's a great success story for Shalini. Another piece of work that they're doing is that somebody gave her some money for an awning over the front. She reckoned that the money wasn't enough to do a decent job, so she managed to sell some of the trees that are growing, trees that weren't doing anything useful but could provide some very useful wood. And with the money she gets from that, she'll be able to do a really good job of this awning. She'll provide shelter from the sun in summer and from the rain in winter, and allow the women to go out more during the day. And we've also been able to help with operations for some of the ladies who live there. So this lady had broken her leg. She needed an operation that had to be paid for. And we've been able to pay the bills for 2 or 3 of these operations over the last few months to keep the ladies healthy and happy. COVID's never far away, and they have had the health department around doing tests on the ladies and also giving them their COVID injections. There was an outbreak of COVID in Tannel House, but because of the operations, it wasn't half as bad as it could have been, and no one was ill enough to need hospitalisation or dying, which has been great. And last Christmas, I sent out a little bit of extra money in order to buy them a Christmas lunch, and they clearly really enjoyed that. And they were very grateful. So they send their thanks to you, our supporters. I want to thank you as well for the support that you give. It's only because of you that we can do what we do, impacting so many lives of the most needy people in South India. So thank you, and may God bless you all.